Started. I am Sam here with the Dubsado Account Solutions team, and welcome to Situations with Sam. Today, we are going to be going over delivering an e-file or any other kind of e-product through Dubsado with a public proposal and a workflow. Hi, Troy. Thanks for joining. So, first of all, I definitely want to thank our friend Amanda from AP Virtual Solutions for sharing this idea with our community. And Becca shared it on our Instagram, and it got a lot of folks asking us, how do I set this up in my account? How do I deliver an e-product with Dubsado? So she asked me to do this webinar, so here we go. All right. Oh, Dawn, I'm so glad you're excited for this. I am too. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. One moment here. All right, looks like we are up. Great. Let me know. Hopefully everything is coming through okay. All right, so we have an outline. So this is available to download in Big Marker. It's also linked in Facebook. So please download the outline. This will help you do this setup on your own going forward. So what are we doing? We are going to be creating a public proposal that you can embed on your website that allows clients to sort of check out and purchase a digital product from your website. And then it kicks off a workflow so that their file can be delivered via email. So this is going to be 100% automated for this portion of the workflow if you keep it to that portion. And of course, you can sort of adapt this for other uses as well, but that is going to be the process that we are setting up. So you will need some kind of e-product, digital product to sell. Think like a PDF download. That's going to be the easiest thing, although I have some other ideas for you that I'll share at the end. We're going to have a package template in Dubsado for the product, a public proposal with the e-product package on that proposal, a canned email that goes out to everyone who purchases the product, and that's going to be an automated email. And you will need to have a payment processor connected to your Dubsado account. So this can only be automated if clients are able to actually buy through the invoice, check out and pay through the invoice. And for that, you do need Stripe, Square, or PayPal connected to your Dubsado account. All right. Oh, and I did forget to mention, guys, silly me, please save your questions until the end, and they might get answered along the way, or I'm happy to, address them at the end as well. So we're just going to get rolling on through here. So I have your instructions written out, and we're going to follow those together. So the first step is to upload our PDF file. This is our e-product, our downloadable file, into Dubsado. And this makes it so Dubsado can actually deliver that file. So here under templates and forms, under the questionnaires section, I'm going to click that upload icon. And this lets us upload a PDF up to 8 megabytes in file size. So if you have a larger file, or maybe it's not a PDF that you're trying to share, you can certainly add a different link to the delivery email, and I'll go over that when we get there. But I'm going to be using a PDF, so I'll click select, and that lets me upload my PDF. I love sewing, so I've made a fake ebook on how to sew almost anything. So that's going to be the product that I'm selling for this demonstration. So we're going to click add. And this actually uploads the PDF right into Dubsado. So it kind of treats it like a Dubsado template. So you can now send it out through a workflow. It's right here in the system, ready to send out anytime. It's just not going to be interactive like a Dubsado form. But for read-only files, this is perfect. So we have our questionnaire uploaded. All right, the next step is to set up our package. So under templates and packages, I did that ahead of time. I made my How to Sew Almost Anything PDF download package. If we just take a closer look at that quickly, put whatever you'd like in the description. This will show to the client on the invoice. The category will not show. I do recommend maybe setting up a separate category for your e-products just so that you can keep track of that in the chart of accounts. So that would be a good thought there. And then the price. So we have our package set up, and that is going to be important for the proposal. All right, moving right along. Speaking of the proposal, let's go and take care of that now. So I've started a template here called e-product delivery. And I know I mentioned this is going to be a public proposal that gets embedded on your website. Some of you may be familiar with that concept already. If you're not, a public proposal is a proposal where a client can select one or more packages and generate an invoice from there, but it sort of acts like a lead capture form. So what it's going to do is actually bring the client into Dubsado and create a project at the same time when the client submits the proposal. So it's sort of like combining the functionality of a lead capture and a proposal all into one and making it so it can be embedded on your website or shared with a public link on social media, however you want to do that. So here we have the start of our template. And another thing to keep in mind as well, you can certainly design the entire proposal to be sort of a sales page. So you can make it completely, all together in one page, or you can design it with a mind to embedding it on an existing web page. So if you'd rather create a different web page and basically just make the portion of the proposal that you want embedded, you can do that as well. So that's kind of the route I've gone here, a little more bare bones. So the first thing we need on our proposal is our package. So I've just dragged on, and I'll do that again. I dragged on a package element right here in these columns. Whoops, there we go. And this is just an image I uploaded of the cover. So I'll click on this package element and select our package template. Templates make everything so easy. So this is how the package is displaying. You can certainly dress this up, make the text look really nice, add in more of a description, why someone would want to buy your product. I'll leave that creativity up to you. What I do want to show you is a special trick for requiring a package on a proposal. So if you only, and with this method, you can really only sell one item at a time, one e-product per proposal. So there's only going to be one package on this proposal. So we don't really need the client to click select. It should already be selected. So I can click pre-selected, and that'll highlight the select button. But we can go a step further and actually just highlight and delete the select button from the package element. And because we have the pre-selected option checked right here, it will just already automatically add to the client's invoice when they submit the proposal. They don't need to click on anything. They're just reviewing the information. So this is a really great trick to make things extra streamlined. All right, so we've got our pre-selected package, no select button. So it is required. They can't remove it either. At the bottom, there is another component to the proposal that we have to have in our layout in order to embed this going forward. So that is collecting the client's contact information. As I mentioned, this is going to work similar to a lead capture form. And just like a lead capture form, we do need to include the client's first name, last name, and email address as 3 separate short answer fields. So we have those short answer elements on the right-hand side here that you can add to your form. I've added 3 of them. And for each short answer question, we're mapping it to one location. So first name, last name, email, one for each field. And we also have to make them required. So these fields do also need to be required. If you're missing this from the proposal, when we eventually do the rest of the setup, this share button will not let you grab the embed code. So this portion is required. And you can add fields for other information as well if you want more info from the client. So this is just the minimum of what you need on your proposal template. And the rest is up to you. You can add whatever you would like. All right, we've got our proposal. And now let's take a look at the canned email that will be sent to someone when they make their purchase. So we're just getting all of the components ready to put into the workflow. So we're making sure we have all the ingredients first. So under templates and canned emails, I did go ahead and prepare a canned email for e-product delivery right here. And you can write a nice little message to anyone who purchased. Now, if we're going the route of sending a PDF that you've uploaded into Dubsado, you are going to want to include the form link smart field in this canned email. So that's under smart field, link, form link. So this is going to be used in our workflow to add a link for them to access the PDF that they just purchased. So that's very important. If you are not going the route of the PDF, maybe you just want to send a link to access another course somewhere or another file somewhere, you can certainly do that too. So if you're going to do that, you can put in some text, click here to download, something like that, highlight the text, and at the bottom under formatting options, that A icon, click the insert link option here and just put in the URL for wherever you want to direct the client after they've purchased, so they can go get their product. So that's all you have to do for that instead of the form link if you are not using the PDF uploaded to Dubsado. So that is the canned email done and done. Hopefully this is looking pretty simple so far. It truly is a pretty straightforward setup. All right, so we've got our canned email. We have all the pieces in place. It's time to set up our workflow. So we'll go under templates and workflow, and I have a template started here with nothing in it yet. So we'll open that up. Our workflow is going to have 3 actions. One of them is absolutely mandatory. The other 2 just kind of level up our workflow a little bit and make things a little bit more organized on the back end. Do yourself a favor anytime you can. So our first action, I actually want to have us add a tag to the project. So as I mentioned, when this proposal gets submitted from the website for the client to purchase, a project is going to be created inside of Dubsado. So adding a tag to this project is going to make it really easy for you to filter through and see at a glance all of your projects that have come from purchases of the e-product. And if you have multiple e-products, you can set up multiple tags for this purpose. So I'll just create a new one right here. I'll call it How to Sew after my ebook. And we'll add that in. So I want to apply the tag How to Sew when the project gets created. So the trigger immediately after all previous actions complete is just fine for adding the tag. The next action is the big one. So this is where we're actually delivering the product to the client after they purchase. So if we're doing the PDF that we uploaded under the forms area, we're going to use the action to send form. This is what allows us to specify the form that we want to send. If you are going the route of just sending the plain hyperlink in the email, that other option I showed, you'll use the send email action instead. So we're going to do send form though. We do want to send the email and apply it to the portal. Client does not need a portal login to access the file. They're just going to get a link in the email. Under form template to send, I'm going to find our PDF here. And under email to send, I'm going to choose our e-product delivery. So that canned email. It's so easy when you have all the components set up ahead of time. So as we went over, that form link smart field is going to link to the form template that we specify right here. So that's how it knows what form to link to when it sends the client this email. So that'll generate that nice colored button so they can access the file and download it. So we'll click, actually before we click apply, let's make sure we set our trigger correctly up here, the when. So with public proposals, when the proposal is submitted and before the invoice is paid, that is when the project gets created in Dubsado. That is when the workflow actually starts and gets applied to the project. So that all happens before the client actually processes their payment. So we need to always keep that in mind when you're working with a public proposal and you want to attach a workflow to it. You do want to make sure that any actions in that workflow that are dependent on the client paying, we want to make sure that they're not going to run until they've paid. So we want to set our when to 0 days after invoice paid in full. So we want to make sure that the client has completed that payment before this form is actually being sent to them. That would defeat the purpose. So this trigger is very important for this action. All right, so we've got our form going out. I mentioned there are 3 steps. There's one more action I want to add here, and that is to archive the project. So hopefully lots and lots of people will want to download your e-product, and that could result in lots and lots of projects getting created inside of Dubsado. We just want to keep things as organized as possible, and we don't want all of these projects piling up. So it might be nice to have the project archive 0.25. Yeah, did you guys know you can put in decimals, fractions of time here for the trigger? So a quarter of an hour, so 15 minutes after all previous actions complete. What this will do is 15 minutes after the client has been sent their PDF download email, the project will archive itself. So you don't even have to do anything. It'll just filter right through. So on the projects page, once the product has been paid for and delivered, 15 minutes later, it will move over into the archived status all the way here on the right. And because we added that tag, the tag is going to stick on the project. So you can always go back through your archived status and find all of the projects with that e-product tag that you created. We're just keeping things nice and organized from the get-go here. All right, that's our workflow built. We are moving right along. So next we need to go back to the proposal. So now is the time to connect all of this together so it can work. So let's go to templates, forms, and then our e-product delivery proposal. In the settings tab is where all the magic happens. First of all, under proposal options, we want to check show invoice. Very important. This makes it so that once the client submits the proposal with their contact information, they will be shown the invoice so that they can pay. So with your connected payment processor, there will be a pay now button on the invoice. They can check out right from your website if you've embedded the form. So show invoice is important. You can turn on a discount, certainly if you want to offer some clients discounts. You have that option here. All the way down at the bottom, create a new project when this proposal is completed. This is what we're working with here, not the privacy settings, even though I'm referring to it as a public proposal. To actually create a public or embeddable proposal, we're working with this setting right here. So yes, we want to create a new project. Once we check that yes, these options should look familiar to when you're setting up a lead capture form in the settings of the lead capture. So first we have our default workflow, and this is where, you guessed it, we just connect in our e-product delivery workflow. So that's the one we want to start. We also have the option to set a project status. So this is important. I highly recommend that you create a new project status just for all of your eProduct projects to go in, and that you make it under the job category of statuses. The reason for this is because we have that archive action in the workflow. We want the project to be a job when it gets archived so that the invoice remains on the project. If the status of the project was under the leads category, when a lead project gets archived, the invoice is removed from the project. So that's in place to prevent you from having a bunch of open invoices with clients who are ultimately not going to go forward with you. So we definitely want all of our new projects from here going into a job status. That said, if you want to make two separate statuses, have all the new ones go into a lead, and then add a project status change to your workflow once they pay, change them to a job, and then archive, you can absolutely do that too. That will also work. This is just the most simplified version. So with that, I'm just going to throw them into deposit paid for now. But again, I encourage you to create an extra status under jobs where all of these projects can go into when purchases are made. And finally, we have a lead title. So, you can, customize the title of new projects that get created. So you can put that, you can make that the title of the product you're selling, however you want to find it. There we go. All right, so we have all those settings down there, all of these up here, and I'm going to save our form, always saving as we go. And now you can see that this share button has become active. So that means I can click on that and access the iframe code. So this is what you would use to embed the public proposal on your site. We also have a direct link. So if you don't have a website or you just want to kind of use this as a standalone sales page, you can use this direct link, put it on your social media platforms, and clients can go directly to this right here to purchase your product. I'm going to open that direct link in a new tab because we want to make sure to test our workflow. And right away, we have a little bit of an issue, and that is we are currently logged in as the business owner. So as you may know from testing proposals elsewhere in Dubsado, if you're logged into Dubsado and you're trying to view a proposal, it won't let you submit it because you're the business owner. So even when you are testing public proposals that are embedded on your website, make sure you're opening up that page in an incognito window. I'm also noticing I think I have some extra CSS applied to this form from my last webinar, so that's exciting. We have a little gold border on our select button. All right, so let's go back to, I'm actually just going to grab this link here. I need to get this into a new window. Bear with me one moment. So I'm opening now the proposal in an incognito window. Just want to switch the screen so that you can see that one instead. There we go. Okay, hopefully you can see the other proposal screen. Let me get back. All right, so this is the one we have opened in an incognito window. And let's see, did I made that mention about saving, and I didn't even save the package as we were going through. Silly me. Give me one moment. It's live, people. We're going live. All right. Let me just go through. Save that again. All right, here we go. Now we're correct. So we have our package element up here at the top. no select button, it's pre-selected. At the bottom, we have our contact info, and you can see the total appearing right at the bottom. I'm going to put in my information. Again, those fields are required, and then it lets us submit the proposal. So when I click submit, a new project will be created in Dubsado, and the invoice will be generated for the client. So we'll click submit, and it brings us right to the invoice. So this will also happen if the proposal is embedded on your website. I do not have a payment processor connected to this test account, so we're not seeing that Pay Now button, but your client would see the Pay Now button. I've also inadvertently left a payment schedule on here. This is going very well. But you would not have a payment schedule. You would just have this on its own. All right, so when you're testing this, how do we test the workflow since we're not actually making a payment? Let's go back to switch screens again. All right, let's go back to our other screen. So in the projects tab, we can now see that our new project has been created. I haven't paid the invoice yet. So if we open this up under the workflows tab, we'll see the workflow's been applied. It added that tag for us, but it's not sent the form just yet. So under invoices, I can go ahead and use the apply dropdown to apply a manual payment. So this is how you will test your workflow. So by applying the payment manually, it's just like as if you had paid the invoice originally. Just have to enter a method here and the pay in full amount. And that's going to make the invoice whole. And there will be a little bit of a delay, but after a few minutes, this email will send. So I definitely encourage you to go through these steps of testing the workflow, manually applying your payment, and making sure that you get the email correctly. And if you put in a link, making sure the link works, just make sure you're happy with everything before actually embedding the proposal on your site. So I highly recommend that. And when you're done testing, just to clear out for your accounting purposes, down here under payments, that payment that you manually applied, you can just click the little trash can icon and that will remove your test payment. All right, that is it, guys. That is setting up for simple delivery of an e-product. In your handout, I have a couple of other little things you can continue adding on to this. So you can make up a payment schedule with one scheduled payment for 100% due when the invoice is created. And then add a couple payment reminders with an invoice link inside. And you can kind of use this as sort of like an abandoned cart workaround a little bit. So maybe the client filled out the proposal, they didn't complete their purchase. And so this way you're just kind of giving them that bump with the payment reminder to say, hey, I saw you were interested in this. Do you still want to, download my ebook, pay the invoice here? And once they pay, the workflow will go ahead and send them their download link. So that is, definitely an option for you. Once you create that, go ahead and put if we go back to our proposal in the settings, add that payment schedule right here. That's where you can pop it on. And let's see, our other tip was that you could add additional follow-ups to the workflow. So you don't have to just archive the project after they pay. You can certainly add a few additional emails. And one idea I had for you is if you wanted to sort of run a mini email course, you could definitely do this. So just by setting up some additional actions after the invoice has been paid, you can kind of send out additional content to the client after their payment. So there's lots of ways that you can sort of expand on this basic idea. And finally, a few tips. So certainly if you have multiple products, we kind of covered that. each product needs to be on its own separate proposal and have its own workflow. As you saw, we can only send one form at a time. We can't send a different form based on which package the client selects. So you're just going to create sort of a separate workflow and public proposal for each product that you're selling if you have more than one. As I mentioned, some customers may not complete their purchase and there will still be a project created in Dubsado. So that's why I recommend having that extra status set up. That way, periodically, you can go through and clear out any really abandoned projects. You can kind of do that every so often, and they shouldn't otherwise be in your way. And then finally, you could also achieve a similar effect using a lead capture form instead of the public proposal if you were not a fan of that for some reason. The first action in your workflow then would be to create an invoice and have the option checked to also send an email with that invoice. And the invoice would be for the product amount. And then after that, the same thing happens after invoice is paid in full. But this method kind of slows down the purchasing process. That's why I really like the public proposal. It keeps things moving. So I recommend going with this option in particular. But as with everything in Dubsado, there are so many ways to do just about anything. So that is it, guys. I definitely have a few minutes here. If anyone has some additional questions, feel free to ask me in Big Marker or on Facebook. Let me turn off I'll leave the screen share on just in case. All right, let's see. All right, so Dawn asked, is there any way to send an email X number of days after purchase to suggest other products or request a review? And absolutely, yes, Dawn, that's a little bit, probably asked that question before I went over it, but that's a little bit what we were just discussing with this sort of drip delivery method. So you can certainly add more emails in after the invoice has been paid. You can trigger additional actions to happen from there. Great question. All right. Awesome. All right, let me just check Facebook. Feel free to write in with any additional questions. Thanks for bearing with me with my fun little excursions with the proposal there once we started testing. And this is a great reason to test, guys. I know testing can be a little bit intimidating, but as you just saw, there are things that you can miss during the setup. So that's why it's always important to test it from the client's perspective so that you know exactly what they will be seeing. All right, I'm not seeing any questions on Facebook at the moment, but if anyone else has questions, feel free to leave them on the video recording inside of Facebook, and I will certainly get back to you on those. Just a couple more announcements I have. On Thursday, please join Cameron in his FAQ&A live Thursday mornings at 9:45 a.m. Pacific. This week, you don't want to miss this one. He's going over smart fields in Dubsado. Fill in the blank, all of that autofill magic. So that is a great one to check out. And on Tuesday, October 1st at 2 p.m. Pacific time, I will be back for more situations with Sam. We're going to be going over the scheduler proposal flow. So I got a lot of questions after the mini schedulers, the mini sessions webinar a few weeks ago. How do I incorporate more of a proposal package selection, additional, payment schedule options? So I'm going to be expanding on that. So if you want to, take everything to the max and do a proposal with a scheduler, payment schedule, all of that combined into one, we will be looking at that October 1st at 2 p.m. Thanks again so much, guys, for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye-bye.